Today we're talking about the Hollyland Mars 300 Pro and why I think it's that perfect accessory to take your on-set production value to that next level. So let's do this. What's up, YouTube? If you're new to the channel, my name is Anson, and on this channel we talk about filmmaking gear, specifically gear for the budget-conscious filmmaker. That was a huge truck. So if that's you, consider subscribing. Today we are talking about the Hollyland Mars 300 Pro, and if you're not familiar, this is a wireless video transmission device. Now I do want to mention that I was sent this from Gear. I actually requested to test this out because I am also very interested in getting into wireless video transmission devices on set, and so I have been sent this device from Gear, but as always, they're not requesting I say anything specifically about this device, and have asked to give my honest opinion, and that's what you're getting here today. There are a few things that specifically stand out to me and why I think this is a perfect accessory for budget-conscious filmmakers that are trying to get into using wireless video transmission devices on set. So let's get into those now, and the first thing I want to mention is price. I will say that I am reviewing the standard version of the Mars 300 Pro. There is an enhanced version, and there's a version that lets you just buy the transmitter. And at time of filming, the standard version of this device is $449. The enhanced version, which gives you some antennas with the transmitter and receiver, will run you about $469, and the transmitter alone will run you about $199. And so the things that I'm talking about and some of the key features of why I think this is a really awesome device, know that you're going to get all of this for $449 for the standard version, $469 for the enhanced version, or potentially $199 for just the transmitter. And so that's why it's one of the first things that stands out for me, is because this is perfect for budget-conscious filmmakers. If you're unfamiliar with this market, this is considerably less money than what you would spend on some other wireless transmitters. Now, there are some things you do get with those other wireless transmitters, I'll give you that, absolutely, but the fact that I can get a wireless transmission device at this price and for this quality is a really awesome feature. And so that's the first thing that stands out for me. And so the next thing I want to call out is the overall distance that you get from the Mars 300 Pro. Now, Hollyland does boast about 400 feet between the transmitter and receiver, and then 300 feet when you're using the app integration, which is something we'll talk about here in a minute, and I'm really pumped on that. So you do get a decent distance, and I will say that this is a very safe distance measurement. Every review that I watch of the Mars 300 Pro says you probably get a little bit more distance than what it's actually boasting, and I found that that seems to be true. I got roughly about 410, maybe 420 feet between the transmitter and receiver, and a little bit over 300 feet when I was using the Hollyland app. I will say that those are line of sight distances, and so that's a distance you can get when there's no interruptions or nothing coming between the transmitter and the receiver. And then some of my tests, I did notice you get about half of that performance when you're trying to transmit through walls or buildings or things like that. And so while it's not quite that 400 or 300, because that's more of a line of sight distance, you still get pretty good performance even when you're trying to transmit through walls or buildings. The next thing is overall latency. Now I will say there is some latency with the Mars 300 Pro. They boast about 0.08 seconds of delay, and I'll be honest, I didn't really time how much of a delay there was, but I did notice there was some slight delay. Now I want to take a second to talk about this and set proper expectations. This device may not be the best for focus pulling scenarios, especially when you're having to do fast scenes or things where you're racking focus really fast in the middle of the shot. And so I don't want you to have the expectation that you're going to buy this and have some awesome focus pulling system. It really shines when you're just doing general monitoring. And the reason why latency is not really a negative in this scenario is because 0.08 seconds for this price range is actually a really awesome feature. There are some devices that offer zero latency, but you're gonna be spending a lot more money to get those devices. And so the fact that you get 0.08 seconds latency with a device that's $500 or less, I think that's a win. I'm pretty sure that's a win. The next standout feature for me is the overall ease of use and size of the device. This is the transmitter, and it's small enough to actually fit on my Blackmagic rig. What's nice about this is it does have a quarter mount on the bottom so you can stand it up. You probably get a little bit better performance when it's standing up, but you can also mount it to the side. It does come with this screw-in feature here where you can mount this to the side and actually lay it down a little bit. Now, something else that helps out with size is you can use an NPF battery, but you can also charge charge it with the USB-C port. So if you have a battery plate like I do, and you have an extra port that can output power, you can actually plug a USB-C cable into the transmitter and actually cut down on the size of the rig as well that way. And so the size is really awesome, but then also the ease of use. There's not a ton going on with this. You basically turn it on, wait 30 seconds to a minute, it's gonna start putting on a signal. The transmitter and receiver come paired out of box, so you don't have to do any extra pairing. You just have to make sure that both are on the right channel, and then it's ready to go. Another thing that makes this system really easy to use is on the transmitter, there's an HDMI in for obviously the wireless video feed transmitting to the receiver, but also has an HDMI out. And so if I have an onboard monitor on my camera, I can plug that HDMI cable from the transmitter to the monitor, which is going to allow me to use the monitor that I have on board the camera, as well as transmit a video feed to somewhere wirelessly. So that's a really awesome way to make this easy to use, because I don't need to sacrifice the monitor that's on my camera to be able to feed a wireless video transmission to the receiver monitor as well. So the fact these come paired right out of box, they're really easy to pack onto a rig, and you can loop in your onboard monitor. It's those small things that make the Mars 300 Pro a really awesome device and really appealing to budget conscious filmmakers, or for that matter, any filmmaker. So the last feature I want to mention, and possibly my favorite feature, which is why I saved it for last, is the fact that you can use the transmitter and actually hook into the Hollyland HollyView app. And that gives you the ability to monitor your entire video feed through an iPad or an iPhone or some type of mobile device, which is amazing. I'm not gonna lie, the reason why I pulled the trigger on my iPad is because of this setup. I talked about at the beginning of the video, being able to take your on-set production value to that next level. This is one of those things that helps with that. If you've ever been on set and tried to show your talent or client what the video is going to look like, a lot of the times you're having to show them your onboard monitor. And if you're like me, I have a 5-inch onboard monitor. Sometimes I'll turn the monitor around and be like, hey, this is what you're seeing. And they're usually like, I trust you. It seems like it looks good. I don't know what's happening. So the fact that I can take my iPad and say, hey, this is what your video is going to look like. And you also have the ability to load LUTs onto the application. And so you can potentially show them what the finished version of that video is going to look like. That is a huge benefit to instill trust into your clients or the talent that you're working with. And once you have trust from that client, that leads to continued bookings. This is an amazing device for someone that is trying to up their game and up their production value, again, to relay to their clients that they mean business and that they are trying to take the experience on set to be as seamless and as professional as possible. And this is a great way to do it on a budget. This is one of those small things that may not be as crucial as buying a lens or lighting or things like that, but it's one of those small accessories that can help your production value go to that next step. And so I truly think that if you're a budget conscious filmmaker and you are looking at some of these accessories that can help your set be more professional, more polished, this is absolutely one of the devices to look into. So that's it for me. I do want to thank PerGear for sending this over to me to test. And as always, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like. If you're digging the overall content from the channel, consider subscribing. Go and find your journey. Go embrace life. Stay safe, be happy, support each other, wash those hands, and I'll see you here next time. Peace.